The best story of the day is this story about Lena Dunham, and I would just be remiss if I didn't lead off with it because it is so grand and so glorious, and she is such a terrible person in every way. This, of course, is Lena Dunham, the wildly unattractive star of Girls. The reason that I point out that she's wildly unattractive is because she has said in the past that if you find her wildly unattractive, it's because you're sexist. No, it's because you have eyes. So Lena Dunham, apparently, she's lied about a bunch of things in the past. She said in the past, the star of Girls, she campaigned with Hillary Clinton. She has said in the past that she was raped by a Republican named Barry. Not true. She has said that she did not abandon her dog. She just was given a dog that had a history of being abused. Also not true. And now her latest story, her latest iteration in her stupidity cycle, comes courtesy of American Airlines. On Thursday, Dunham tweeted that she overheard two American Airlines employees speaking about how they believed that the transgender agenda was terrible for children. Horror! Shock! No, they must be stopped. It's just too terrible. She tweets out late last night, quote, "At this moment in history, we should be teaching our employees about love and inclusivity, American Air. That was worst part of this night." Everything that she does is always about the drama, right? Oh, it's the worst thing that ever happened. It's just the worst part of the night. I can't handle it. And American Airlines wrote back, "You have us concerned. Please meet us in DMs with your record locator and details." What they really should have said is, "You have us concerned. Please see a psychologist as soon as humanly possible." And then she started DMing with them. And here's what she said, quote, "Hi, I heard two female attendants talking about how trans kids are a trend. They'd never accept a trans child, and transness is gross. I think it reflects badly on uniformed employees of your company to have that kind of dialogue going on. What if a trans teen was walking behind them? Awareness starts at home, but jobs can set standards of practice. Thanks for your consideration." So in other words, there are two women walking along talking about one of the hottest issues of the day, trans children, right? Kids who believe that they are a member of the opposite sex. And these women were saying, "I would not accept it if my child said that they were a member of the opposite sex," which is perfectly rational, since you shouldn't really accept that because your child is not a member of the opposite sex. You should look for treatment. And this idea that, as a parent, you should accept this new idiocy foisted on Americans by leftist society, it's just dumb all the way through. But she says, Big Sister Lena Dunham, Big Sister, the one who said that she once pleasured herself next to an 11-year-old sister, so she's not just Big Brother, she's Big Sister, and the best kind of Big Sister. Big Sister reports that to American Airlines. What if someone had been walking behind them? Someone was. And she was a terrible person. So she reported that, and then she said, "I wasn't flying American. This was at JFK, and I was in a terminal with American attendants." And American wrote back, "Do you know what gate this was at?" She said, "I was in the arrivals hall coming from gate B30 to baggage by the Hudson News across from the wine bar." Okay, Stalin. I mean, my God, just reporting people for having normal conversation in the hallways at JFK, like this is what this has come to now. It wasn't manifesting in their behavior toward trans people. It wasn't manifesting in how they treated any of the trans customers. It wasn't manifesting in anything, even assuming all of this is true. They said, "Thanks for the info, Lena. We're passing this along to our team to review." And she wrote back, "Thank you." And then she wrote, hashtag across from the wine bar. So now we're now like targeting and tracking down anyone who has wrong think. I mean, this is Orwellian garbage. Orwellian garbage. Number one, these women can say whatever they like. Even if they'd been saying stuff that was really anti-Semitic, do you think that I would have gone to American Airlines and said, "You have these two vicious anti-Semites working for your company"? Like, get over it. Get over it. It's a free country. You may think that people are terrible. That doesn't give you the excuse to destroy their jobs. As I said, on Sunday we did a Q&A. As I said, if it's not impacting how they do their job, it makes no difference. Okay, then there's a big, and then she tweeted, "For those who followed my airport saga yesterday, here's my takeaway. These days it's the little things. A smile, offering a seat, respect." You mean the little things like not getting people fired because you're a giant douchebag of a human being? Like the little things like not targeting random passersby who happen to disagree with you on a hot political issue of the day? I mean, God, heavens forfend if they had said they voted for Trump. I mean, my God, then Lena Dunham really would have reported them to American Airlines. Except there's one extra wrinkle to this story, as always. American Airlines checks out the story, and on Friday they told Fox News, quote, "We always look into complaints from customers, but at this time we are unable to substantiate these allegations." So there is no evidence that any of this happened at all. And Lena Dunham, once again, is just saying crap, because this is what Lena Dunham does to get attention. Leftists, I never give you advice because I want you to continue to be a giant fail. But here's a piece of advice. Stop associating with nutcases like Lena Dunham if you want people to take you seriously. Number one, having your little emissaries going around and reporting people in USSR, East Bloc Stasi fashion, when they say things you don't like, that's gross enough. Having them lie about it or say it without evidence is really, really super gross. And at this point, the fact that the left continues to hang on to Lena Dunham just like they hang on to Linda Sarsour is just demonstrative of the fact that they don't care about middle America. They don't care about people who disagree. They want the heroes that they want, and it doesn't matter if those people are garbage heaps. Those people must be upheld. It doesn't matter that Lena Dunham is a personal dumpster fire. They're going to continue to label her just the woman of the year. Amazing, amazing stuff. But that's just another great story from the Lena Dunham annals of joy. This is Ben Shapiro, and this is the Ben Shapiro Show. Lena Dunham continues to be Lena Dunham. And one of the things that is amazing about Lena Dunham is that Lena Dunham actually thinks that she is some sort of poetic genius. So she's now written a poem. She's now written a poem called Monday After March. Monday After March. Here we go. From Human Potato, Lena Dunham. Donald Trump only recognizes the humanity of women who look like his daughter. But after this weekend, he better know that we are all his daughters. Rebellious ones. The kind who steal the car keys in the wallet and sneak out before we can be stopped. The kind who F with his friends and flirt with his enemies. The kind who turn it out and rage out. The kind who don't give a bleep what our daddies think and recognize the way so many fathers have failed us. Okay, so, if we're going to talk about fathers that fail, why don't we start with Lena Dunham's father? Really, let's start with Lena Dunham's father. Lena Dunham's father apparently put up pictures of vaginas all over the walls of her New York City apartment growing up. Lena Dunham's father apparently saw nothing wrong with his daughter, even while his daughter was sexually abusing his other daughter. Lena Dunham's father was this kind of Art Nouveau, ridiculous, she leftist, and he brought up a daughter like Lena Dunham, who thinks that males are the worst thing ever. So if we're going to talk about bad dads, let's start with Lena Dunham's dad, because clearly he did a crappy job at raising his daughter. I love the fact that she says that we are all Donald Trump's daughters. Donald Trump didn't know that. I mean, he's not paying enough child support if that's the case. I like that she says that they're the kinds who steal the car keys in the wallet and sneak out before we can be stopped. Her idea of feminine independence is being a 15-year-old rebellious girl. This may be the problem with Lena Dunham's life. Maybe one of the reasons you're so miserable, gal, is because 15-year-old girls are not typically particularly happy, the kinds who steal the car keys and go out with their friends. That's not the hallmark of happiness. And when she says that this is the fault of fathers that have failed us, that we don't care, it says the kind who don't give a bleep what our daddies think and recognize, the way so many fathers have failed us. Maybe you should care what your parents think because your parents are wiser than you sometimes. First of all, Donald Trump is not your daddy. It's amazing. It's amazing that even the folks on the left, they worship government so much that they can't even acknowledge that Trump isn't their father. Right? Yesterday, we had a whole spiel about this with Kellyanne Conway. Government is not your parent. Donald Trump is not your dad. The media is not your mom. But Lena Dunham is so ensconced in this leftist worldview that Donald Trump is her father, and it gives her an excuse to act like a bratty teenage child and go out there and rage about her vagina for no apparent reason. It's pretty incredible that Lena Dunham is considered a up-and-coming voice on the left, a person who spoke at the Democratic National Convention. You want to know why the DNC continues to fall apart? They continue to fall apart because they give respect to ideological, ridiculous people, just ideological clowns like Lena Dunham, who thinks that this represents some sort of deep art rather than the angst-filled musings of a diary-writing 15-year-old girl with an absentee dad.
Well, Lena Dunham is back in the news because we are all sinful creatures who deserve punishment from the Almighty, hence her. Yesterday, the star of Girls tweeted at American Airlines saying their employees had engaged in the most wicked of sins, transphobia. Dunham tweeted, quote, "Not going to call out the airline who delayed because bleep happens, but I did just overhear 2 American Airlines flight attendants having a transphobic talk. At this moment in history, we should be teaching our employees about love and inclusivity." Assuming that's a word. That was the worst part of this night, close quote. Well, the airline quickly responded, quote, "Your comments have us concerned. Please meet us in DMS with your record locator and details." So far, it's not clear if the attendants have been identified or if they will be punished or even if Lena Dunham was flying on American Airlines or anything, but here we have it. The interesting story, Brian Claypool is a civil rights attorney who supports the tweets that Lena Dunham sent out. He joins us tonight. So, I'm not just asking these questions because I'm opposed to Lena Dunham on principle, though obviously I am, but because I think it's a really interesting question. So she's alleging she's walking through the airline terminal and she hears 2 people having a private conversation. And she says they said this: 2 female flight attendants talking about how trans kids are a trend, they'd never accept a trans child, and transness is gross. Now, whatever, you can agree or disagree with those sentiments, but they're not plotting to kill anyone. And so the question is, should you lose your job over having a private conversation where you express views like that. And you say, yes, you should?
Well, Tucker, I'm not sure I say that they should lose their job, but I think what Lena Dunham was trying to accomplish is to raise awareness within one of the big airlines in the world. This is a common carrier. This is a personal service business. This isn't like me driving out of a parking structure and giving my ticket to a ticket guy and paying him. So she's concerned that this might be something that emanates throughout American Airlines. So she's now using social media to raise awareness. And guess what? That statement you just posted, the statement you posted proves that American Airlines is taking this seriously.
Well, I'm sure they're intimidated because she's. But hold on, back up. American Airlines didn't make this statement. This was two private individuals talking between one another, walking through an airport, and she happened to overhear it. And so I guess my question to you is, should American Airlines not allow its employees to have these opinions? Should they crack down on people who have these opinions? Is that what you're really arguing?
Oh, absolutely. I believe that. I mean, we live in a civilized society. We need more social acceptance.
If somebody, no, I know, but hold on. They run an airline. And so should they ask all of their hundreds of thousands of employees, quote, do you find transness gross? Is that, like, should they really have that level of control over the opinions of their employees? Are you being serious?
I didn't say that, Tucker. I think what American Airlines needs to do, well, let me finish. What American Airlines needs to do, what big business needs to do, I've sued big business for 10 years for discrimination claims, and they do, listen, they do nothing unless you create a potential consequence for them through social media. It's not until...
Hold on. Nobody is alleging... No. I want to get the terms clear because you're distorting them. Nobody discriminated against anyone else. Nobody hurt anyone else. These are two people talking to each other in private. That's very different from going out and hurting someone. This is an opinion. And I grew up in a country where you could have opinions that maybe you didn't agree with, but I could still not be punished for that. And you're saying they should be punished for having a view that you disagree with in private. And I'm saying you're a fascist for believing that.
Okay. What I'm saying is American Airlines needs to conduct or implement more sensitivity training. I don't think they need to go out and ask every employee, hey, are you anti-gay or anti-transgender? But they need to implement sensitivity training because what Lena Dunham is saying, Tucker, is what if a transgender person is sitting in a seat and these two flight attendants make comments like that in front of passengers, for example?
Didn't happen.
So she's trying to preempt that. I'm just saying she's trying to...
Let me ask you a question. What's the most insensitive thing you've said to a friend of yours in private in the last 10 years?
Probably call them an a-hole?
No. Have you ever expressed a view in private that you wouldn't be comfortable sharing, for example, on a live TV show like this one? Let me answer that for you. Yes, you have.
Yes, I have.
So do you acknowledge that there's value? Do you acknowledge there's value? Okay, they were walking, talking to each other. What I'm saying is, look, you guys who are pushing social change in the rest of the country are going about it all wrong. Most Americans are tolerant, compassionate people. And if you say to them, hey, don't bother someone because he's different, most Americans are like, yeah, that's fine. But you're taking it 2 steps beyond that and saying you're not allowed to have opinions. You're not allowed to have your own views or we're going to hurt you. And what I'm saying is, I will fight you on that. I am tolerant. I have no interest in bothering other people. But when you tell me I'm not allowed to think certain things, that's too far. Do you catch what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Tucker, but here's 2 problems with that. Number one, these comments weren't made in your living room or my living room. And number 2, you don't work for American Airlines. So these comments were made in an airport.
I work for a big company. I can have, if I'm talking to my brother in a private way, I'm allowed to have heterodox views. This is America, man. Like, Tucker, what are you arguing exactly?
If you had a transgender, let me ask you a question then. If you had a transgender daughter and you were flying American Airlines and you had heard that a couple of their flight attendants think that transgenders are a bunch of garbage or whatever they said, messy people,
they didn't say
you don't think that would strike... Listen, you don't think that would strike a chord in your body and you want to see some change in that airline?
I walk through airports. Slow down. I walk through airports and people call me names. I'm on television. People don't like me. Hey, go F yourself. Whatever. Okay, I don't like it, but I'm not trying to get anybody fired over it. And by the way, that's happened in front of my kids. I'm not whining. I'm just saying people disagree with each other. That's okay, Brian. You don't have to crush them. Do you get it?
I don't think she's trying to crush them.
Yes, she is.
Tucker.
Yes, she is, and so are you.
I don't think... No, I'm not trying to crush them. I'm trying to raise social awareness awareness and social acceptance within big multi-billion-dollar companies, and that's all she's trying to do.
What you're
Can
doing
you
is
have some more
raising
training?
awareness of your real goals, which is to control people's opinions. And I just think that's wrong. So, and it has nothing to do with trans people. It has to do with the freedom to believe what you want to believe. Brian, thank you for coming on tonight.